Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk about AgentForce, and I want to preface by saying that I'm not an expert on this topic. I'm still learning and exploring because this is all very new. But if you have been paying attention to Dreamforce and Salesforce news, AgentForce is all the hype, all the buzz. So let's talk about it and demystify what AgentForce is and how is it different from CoPilot that you might be familiar with. And if you're not familiar with CoPilot, not to worry, I do have few videos on this channel where I talk about what CoPilot is, how do you build a prompt builder, and so on. So I cover that in a different video. While it might seem like a simple rebranding of CoPilot, it is supposed to be much more robust. The architecture is different and it is much more capable than just simple Copilot assistant. Copilot is definitely a part of it, but there will be many more tools added onto the AgentForce suite. So I do see this product getting more and more updates and more features as Salesforce releases it out. I don't have access to AgentForce yet, but I'm already seeing some new elements within the prompt builder. But that doesn't mean that if you know how to build prompt, if you know how to play around with Copilot, we will still need all of those skills. Those are not going anywhere, but you will need to learn much more with AgentForce. With that being said, AgentForce is really a combination of agents and Copilot. So that is a new term for us. What are agents, right? Agents are not what you're probably thinking, which is your service agent or sales agent, but think of these agents as a digital agent. So these are the agents for your agents. If you have a service agent or sales rep, you might create digital agents for them to assist those sales rep or service rep. So these are your digital agents. So they can help talk to either the customer or your employees and help them talk to them in natural language and either give you the information that you're asking about or perform actions. So actions is still the same term used with Copilot. Now it's called agent performing actions. There are 5 key components of the agent. The agent or Copilot itself with which the end user will interact. The topic, which is a new term that wasn't there before when we talked about Copilot. Actions is the same thing. You can have custom or standard actions. Reasoning engine, I think this was called the planner service. Now it's called reasoning engine. So this is what decides what topics or actions to use for a given intent. This is also that talking, getting the intent from the user and figuring out what to do basically. LLM is the large language model. So these are the 5 key blocks of building an agent. Now let me give you a quick rundown of the building blocks of agent. Go to generative AI. And as you can see, most of the things are now updated to say agent. It used to be called Copilot Studio, Copilot Actions, Copilot here, but now it's all called agents. So that's the key difference now. Copilot is renamed and rebranded to agents. And agents is also a more industry-wide term that other Gen AI tools also use. So if I go to agents, you will see that it's pretty much the same as Copilot. And if I go to the Copilot itself, and let's check out the builder. And the remaining blocks of the agent is topic, actions. The topic is something new. I don't think I saw this before. Topics basically give context to the agent in what actions to use or not to use, what not to do, and what to do. So if I go to an example of a topic, this is the general CRM topic. And as you can see, we have description. And this is unlike other like Salesforce fields or object where you can write pretty much anything on description. This is actually something that matters. You have to be very descriptive on your description. And in this case, it's saying that it engages with the user request about data and CRM data related. This could be tasks such as identify, summarize records, answer queries, and so on. So this is actually important. You have to write the description and then the scope. If you're familiar with like writing good ChatGPT prompts, you can put all those knowledge to use. Even when you're querying a ChatGPT prompt, you want to give it a scope because you don't want it to like go beyond the boundaries of what you want it to do. So you can say, hey, your job is to interact and answer questions for this thing specifically. So in this case, saying like your job is to interact and answer questions for the user. It's all about writing good description and good instructions. Instructions as well provides, as you can see here, it helps agents make decisions about how to use the actions. So just like human beings, we need instructions and we need the context. And you can have multiple instructions. There is a recommendation on how many instructions you want to have. You don't want to overburden it with instructions. Just like human beings, if there are so many instructions, you might also get confused. So you can have multiple instructions for a topic. You need to give a scope, a description, and a label. And then you can attach actions to the topic. And this is powerful because let's say if you had a query records action, and maybe you have two different topics that both can use the same action. So you can share actions across topics. If you have a topic that you want to assign to an agent, let's think of an example, right? Like you have a service agent, and the main purpose of the service agent is to help you with your order information, your service cases, your case order number, and things like that. Just giving you information, querying the knowledge articles, displaying the information. But maybe you don't want it to do anything like placing an order or creating an opportunity. So you can set the context for that service agent to do only certain things using the topic. And then in the topic, you can add actions that you want it to do so that the service agent doesn't go out there creating opportunities, for example. And same thing with the sales agent. If you want your sales agent to focus on creating quote and order and creating an opportunity, summarizing the deal, and so on and so forth, you can have topics and assign the actions to those topics. The next building block is action, and this is where you can have tons of standard actions that Salesforce comes with that will help you answer things like summarize this opportunity for me, or what are the top 5 deals, things like that. And you can create your custom actions by using different action types. You can have a flow. So let's say if you wanted to have very specific things that you wanted your agents to do, you can also create action and Apex. You can even do things like integrate it with third party using Apex. So all of those things are possible because you can have actions and the prompt template. I have a dedicated video on this, so we're not going to dive into that in this video, but know that you can make different types of actions that serves your need. Maybe the standard actions quite don't fit what you're trying to do. And then the last two things are reasoning engine and the LLM. I just want to demonstrate the reasoning engine by actually showing you the CoPilot. So let's go find our agent again. And I'm just gonna ask a question. What are my top 5 opportunity? And while this is thinking and analyzing the request, in the newer model, it will basically show what are the things it's doing. So think of this as the engine or the brain, and that's the atlas really. It's what the plan is and how it is choosing to incorporate those plans and come up with an answer. So while it showing me some opportunities, and this is where I can also add in my topic, I can add things like, if somebody asks you a question about top 5 opportunities, ask, do you mean top 5 by amount, by close date? Like, what do you mean by top 5? It can also ask clarifying questions. I haven't built that in, but you can certainly do that as well. But coming back to Atlas, right? We have, what are my top 5 opportunities? That was the question. My prompt, this is the user prompt. So you have two things, user and the Einstein. It decided to use general CRM topic based on probably some instructions. So some of these instructions probably say that. And it is also saying things like, hey, if you are fetching the data, do not declare your intent, just fetch the data. So this is helpful to set some guidelines, so it's not going off the rails. And these are the actions that it's tied to. And then it is choosing a specific action by thinking, or whatever the AI does in the background. It knows that, okay, I need to use query records action because I'm asking about top 5 opportunities. And the output is in JSON format. So if you read this, it looks funny, but if you just read this, it's pretty simple to understand. I can expand this. S object info, API name is opportunity, ID, and it is showing me these 4 fields. And then we see the agent response, and this is the response we got. So understanding this, so before you are actually deploying and creating an agent and deploying to your users, this is the place you're going to be spending time testing, tweaking, making sure your agent is doing the right thing that you expect it to do, and then you activate it. Hopefully that was helpful to you in understanding more about AgentForce. I'll be making more videos once I get to explore more and more information comes out from Salesforce. I will also link some Dreamforce videos that I found insightful into what would it look like when it's all implemented. So I'll link that in the video description as well. I found it really fascinating to see how many different use cases it can solve for. So that might be of interest to you. Please let me know if you have any questions, or what do you think about AgentForce or Einstein CoPilot.